John Summers is the motoring historian. He was a company car thrashing technology sales rep that turned into a fairly inept sports bike rider. Hailing from California, he collects cars and bikes built with plenty of cheap and fast, and not much reliable. On his show, he gets together with various co-hosts to talk about new and old cars, driving, motorbikes, motor racing, and motoring travel.
Good day, good morning, good afternoon. It is John Summers, the motoring historian. I'm doing another one of these impromptu. Eric, the producer, was like, you're better. That one that you did about the LA fires, where you just sat in the truck and recorded it, that one was almost better than the ones that you planned. So I was like, you know what, I'll do another one. Maybe I'll do another one like that. And then I thought, yesterday, I've had this Camry for a bit, family vacay, Cape Cod. I've had this Camry Basie, obviously new one. It's from Avis, one of the major agencies. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll talk about it a little bit. Maybe I will. And then I thought, you know what? So I'll do it as I'm like driving. So I'm actually driving. New England. It is like old England, not just the place names, the whole way they've like laid stuff out is like old England. I guess more it's a function that California's built for, roads that have cars on, whereas this community that we're in at the moment, like this Cape Cod, it seems to have been mostly built in the 16th, 17th, 18th century. So in that sense, the communities resemble a lot of British towns. In fact, there are older communities than a lot of British towns. So for context, if you want to imagine me in context, I'm on this Highway 28 Falmouth Road in Cornwall, I hear you say. No, not in Cornwall, in this Massachusetts place. Oh, bollocks, I just missed the turn for the only bloody drive-throughs. All right, so this is a feature of New England that is worth talking about. It is this, right? That in New England, or this part of New England, they don't really go in for like drive-throughs and things like that. So that thing where you like stagger out of the motel and get in the truck and start rolling and are like, where am I going to stop to get breakfast? And then you drive for a little bit and there's a McDonald's and you just drive through and carry on. That doesn't happen here. Here, on this Falmouth Road drag here, there's plenty of like strips and places that you can stop and get out. Delis, as Dana calls them. But I tried the deli the other day and it took bloody ages. It's like bloody England. Like, it's like, am I in America or am I in like slow being served England? It was the latter. And if the bacon sandwich had been that good, I'd have been all right with it, but it wasn't. So I was just like, yes, Dana, this is why I don't do delis. Something else they do differently here, and I'm just seeing one, and I'm just jumping around here, is this. Trucks, there's a lot of Western Stars. I love a Western Star. There must be different rules out here, like around heavy trucks. And this is why you see Western Stars out here on the eastern seaboard and not elsewhere. Obviously, the towns do look cutesy. I mean, it works for me for a bit, but after a while, it all feels a bit too much like the Cotswolds, in Europe. I don't know, I feel like the Cotswolds has to be offset with the gnarliness of Birmingham, Maybe that people would say the same of Boston offsets the sort of, the city offsets this as the, and this is like, Windsor or somewhere like that, but just American, so it's on a bigger scale. Yeah, it's all like winding lanes with trees growing over, It's like if you tell the GPS to take you around southern England, keeping off the freeways, keeping off the motorways, which it did last time I was in England, and worked really well. In fact, I'll insert a link now to that pod that I did where I talked about driving around old England. Anyway, this New England is nicer, It's definitely a whole lot richer Basically, everyone who moved to this part of New England, who came here, it was clear that they thought to themselves, wow, I could be like the squire in a Jane Austen novel. You know, everyone, every working class person, sailor, pilgrim. I went to Plymouth Rock yesterday, I won't bore you. Well, no, actually, it's not boring, it's interesting, but, you know, it is just a rock, so, you know, it's the story that's interesting. I will share. The story is interesting because, one, it was families who came. That's why it was memorable. Second reason why it was memorable was because... I should choose what I'm going to eat. Second reason why it was memorable was because they did the Mayflower Compact. So it's a system of government. So you've got families and government. But the only reason they did the compact was because they landed in the wrong place. And the king had told them they could have land down by the Hudson River, but they weren't anywhere near the Hudson River. So they were like, take us there, and the captain of the ship of the Mayflower went, no. So they were like, what are we going to do? And the party was in danger of breaking up, and they were like, we're going to do this compact to write how we're going to run, you know, our little posse here.
Hello, good morning. What can I get for you today?
Good morning. Can I do a sourdough breakfast sandwich?
Perfect. Anything else?
With ketchup, please.
With ketchup? I can give you ketchup back on the side. That's okay?
Awesome.
Perfect.
And can I also do a medium cappuccino? Actually, a large cappuccino. We'll see how good Dunkin Donuts is. I tell you what there is though. There's this awesome little Ford truck with a wooden rack and like an extended boom, but it's like a short, really short. It's like a short bed truck, but it's got like a utility bed on it. I should take a picture of it. All right, so yeah, in Cape Cod, have this rental Camry. I mean, it's new. It's only done 6,000 miles, so let's say it's a 2025. I guess it's a base spec. I haven't been and looked at the badge or something like that, but it's like a cloth interior. It's done about 7,000 miles, and it sadly has been abused. There's bashes on a lot of panels, and they've taken the floor mats out, and it's filthy anyway. And I guess it tracks straight, but like all rental cars used 2 years ago, it smells slightly of cigarette smoke, even though they've tried to clear it. So hopefully we'll be able to get away with that. Now, you heard me in Dunkin a moment ago. I'm going to sample a Dunkin bacon and egg sandwich. Doesn't look that inspiring, to be honest, but you know, we'll see. So the Camry. I mean, I drove that XSE, didn't I, a couple of months ago, and I'll link to that. And I did feel like, of the cars that I drove in that way, it was the best car. And with hindsight, given the fact that we're all spending our own money on these things, it just seems so much better value than anything else that we experience. It doesn't do anything particularly well, but it does everything really a little bit better than you expect it to, so well that you wonder if you need the Lexus, and you certainly feel like you couldn't justify, you know, you'd be wasting money if you were buying a Porsche or the BMW. You know, that's how it makes you feel a little bit. It makes me feel like that again. Now, I guess I'm coming to it from the experience of driving the truck, and you know, it definitely feels like 10 years on from the truck. My Tundra is a 2016, and so that this is, and it's a car, you know, not a truck, the truck was already like old hat in 2016. But I guess, you know, because I drive so many old vehicles, it still feels pretty modern to me. So this Camry feels super modern. And as such, I find I trip over the technology. When you start it, the engine doesn't like fire up. So it's hard to tell whether or not you can put it in gear. So I'm constantly trying to put it in gear or get it going. Or I somehow miscoordinate the putting the brake on and pushing the power button. I don't know what it is. It's just, you know, look, right now, it's just now saying that the vehicle assist is deactivated and I need to be careful when exiting the vehicle. It's full of these kind of like computery, would you like a paper hat with that, sir, kind of shit that you really don't. It is interesting to me because you do end up feeling that this product 10 years ago would have driven just as well. It might have even had cruise control, but I wouldn't have spent 10 minutes wrestling with the cruise control, because the cruise control isn't just cruise control. It's also adaptive cruise control, and it's also lane assist. And when you first switch it on, you need to know which menu to toggle into to deactivate that, so you only get the cruise, you don't get the whole self-driving piece. Now, if that seemed complicated to explain, imagine what it was like driving with your family at 5 o'clock in the morning, having just taken a red eye from the East Coast. We didn't plan to do that, by the way. We spent all day in the airport. I just want to commemorate a day which otherwise would be consigned to the dustbin of time, because it was not a good memory. It was a bad memory. When you arrive at the airport at 8 o'clock in the morning, to be told the plane's going to leave at 1:35, to be told at noon that it's going to leave at 3:35, to be told at 3 that it's going to leave at 6:30. My God, it was Chinese torture. It really, yeah, it just reminds me how important it is to be independent. So this is why when my wife talked about renting a car, I didn't bleat about what it was. I was just like, absolutely, I just want the independence. And proving that point, look, I'm just sitting in it now, minding my own business. I feel more comfortable sitting in the car, not least because the seats are better than any of the ones in the rental. It's like, you know, I don't dislike my wife's family, but, you know, it's fun hanging out with them. But I do feel in my own space when I'm in the car. That's really what I'm saying. I feel in my own when I'm in the car. I might take my second bite of bacon sandwich. I've got to say, Americans do bacon badly. There's never enough of that, and the little amount there is, they always bloody incinerate. So to the point where it's like what we would call in England, you know, it's crispy. It's like we would call it, and they always do. Like the tail bit of the bacon, you know how it comes, where there's like the round bit and the tail bit. They always do the tail bit, and they incinerate the crap out of it, so it's stiff, so it's really small. It's like, well, I don't understand the point of it. It's like I felt about pickup trucks. And I just want to say, what the fuck with never giving any napkins? I asked for 3 ketchups. They gave me the 3 ketchups. They didn't give me any napkins. Like, what happened to that? Again, it's another backward step, this. It was better when they gave you the napkins automatically. I don't know how many cream and sugar I want in my coffee. Give me 3 of each and then I can choose. That's how it was in the 1990s when Gammy and I first travelled here. Now I know that quote is going to age very badly. That's why the planet is burning, the wastefulness of capitalism. But my word, it was good fucking living. I just used a napkin from yesterday that I found in the footwell. I'm not picky, me. I'm sitting here now trying to think of more to say about this Camry. I mean, it's white. It couldn't be any more neutral. The other one, because it was high trim, the one that I drove like a couple of months ago, because it was high trim, you felt like you didn't need the Lexus. With this, you don't need the Lexus, but you might like to have it. You know, because it's not that nice inside. It's a bit plasticky. So because it has the hybrid, the power delivery is really awesome. And by that I mean I've had it in, I don't know what mode it defaults to. It has like a sport, normal, eco. I haven't played with them at all. Reason for that is I've just found that if you just stab the throttle, like away from any kind of launch, it'll just chirp the tyres just a little bit. Because it's like the hybrid and the gas working together. And I'm telling you, you've experienced it before. You've seen it with those onboard films of Toyota Le Mans cars, because the way it launches, there's something very different. I've talked about this in other pods. There's different. The power delivery in an EV is different. It's not just us car guys being like, oh, it's interesting, this beeping. It's a trash truck, but the trash truck's got all like livery on it. It's like sign written, black and gold. It's not like a normal trash truck at all. Anyway, I was talking about something there and I can't remember what it was. It might come back. Yeah, the launch of this Camry is incredible. The hybrid and the... Yeah, I know what I was talking about. I was saying that EVs, it's easy to feel like, oh, you're just being snobbish, you just don't like EVs, you're just like anti-EV. There is something different in the power delivery of an EV versus a gas-powered vehicle. There's something that actually makes me, I've realised, it might be the vigour of it, it might be the torque of it. I don't know, it's just to do with, if I've been prattling on for ages recently with the motorcycles about how a V-twin it does just feel different to ride, and I never used to get it. I still love the inline fours, but I've really fallen in love with V-twins as well. It's like having two wives, sort of. I still love the old one, but but the V-twin, it's smooth, really. Just the way the power comes in. Now the EV, I think if we can recognise that there is something different, therefore, about the way the power is delivered. Now, the old organic power delivery, especially the way that like a normally aspirated motor revs, think of a BMW inline 6 or something like that like zing to like even a fairly low red line, $6,000 red line or something like that kind of power delivery. I grew up on that, so I love that. Now, I'm going to say this Camry, it's that old-fashioned, gas-powered, but now with this sort of electric turbo. That's the way I feel like the hybrid works. And is it sustained push? I don't know. I'm on Cape Cod. I don't want to get a speeding ticket. I've not been faster. I'm not driven fast and stupid. I'm just saying, under acceleration, the thing pulls really well, and it's really fun, and it doesn't give a shit what mode you're in. And again, right, I feel like for this environment, and it has a pure EV mode. I've not played around with that either. I guess I should, shouldn't I? But it seems to go into, if you modulate the throttle properly, you can see when it's in pure EV mode. It's quite easy for me to do that. I mean, I guess it was showing 47 mpg when I started driving it, and I've done a couple of 100 miles in it and have nurtured it up to like 50 mpg. I say nurtured, I mean, I've just talked about the throttle response. You can tell that I've been lead-footing it when there's been opportunity, but I just haven't, I've not been driving stupidly and herky-jerkily, and the rest of the time, when it's been pottering in traffic, I've deliberately been toggling to keep it in, it wants to coast, right? And if you coast up really slowly, it will, if you coast in the right way, it'll even toggle in some regen braking. It's not as aggressive for regen braking as I think I might like, but like with so many things on this car, it's calibrated to be familiar and easy and usable. And I guess I found myself looking at it next to a Volkswagen ID4. If you think about the way that the German makers fell over themselves to deliver EV innovation and have possibly done a total like British car industry on themselves and completely fallen on their swords. I mean, it'll remain to be seen whether they survive, but really, you only need to look at used values of Taycans to see how these luxury EVs, what people want to be parting and drive. So I've driven something else as well, which is partly why I wanted to record this piece. So let me compose myself and talk. What music should we have this episode? I could edit something in this point, when I'm editing this back. I can't remember when I did the LA episode. I can't remember it in musical. So my brother-in-law has a 2017 BMW 440. He's a techie guy, so he's the right kind of car for him because, he's the guy who's ready to spend the time on the forums reading what the parts are that you need to replace so the motor doesn't blow up. And he's put a tune on it, but just a little one, and he was showing me how you do the tune, and it's just like a little plug-in. So just to be clear here, the street race guys at the moment love this. He calls it, I think the motor name is the B58. They love this platform because with an easy tuning device, I think the maker that he has is JB Tune. If I find the link, I'll put it in. But you can get an extra, in his case, 40 horsepower, in some cases 120 horsepower. And the way it works is it tricks the motor, it tricks the turbo into thinking it's not boosting when actually it is. So it then overboosts, giving you... Now that sounds a bit crude, doesn't it? I didn't drive it in Sport Plus, and I drove it around Cape Cod, and it's my brother-in-law's car. So with those limitations, you know, what we're saying is I'm just occasionally, you know, I'm falling back from the traffic, and I'm occasionally coming in the throttle, and I'm doing that in what he called Prius mode, the eco mode. I'm doing that in the normal mode that it defaults to in sport. Now, many years ago, in fact, when this when this era of cars sort of launched, I went to the Amelia Island Concours, and I had a BMW rental car, a F90 328 rental car, and I drove up from Miami to Amelia Island. All the way there, I was a bit disappointed by it because it drove like a Camry. You know, the throttle response was lazy, and it just wasn't. And it was a time before I realised that the modes really counted for something, because when you put this car in Sport Plus, it was like it was a track vehicle. So I behaved very badly on the road, which is like A-B roady, in from the freeway into the Amelia Island Concours. I really behaved like a hooligan along that really awesome piece of road, and was struck by the fact that with these modern cars, certainly with this era of BMW, the mode creates a completely different car. The mode is so that's why I didn't even put, you know, this 440. It's a Grand Coupe, so it's like I didn't even put it in Sport Plus, because I always find those shifts too hard and the suspension too hard for the road. Sport Plus on the road, when you gunned it, oh my word, it was awesome. The turbo boost, the pinion, your seat, the drive, you know, it was really nice. The thought, so it's the other thing that I did was I played with the paddles a little bit to like knock it down a couple of gears, and that was quite good fun. But if you just mash the throttle, as usual with BMW, you know, I was like shifting at $6,000. It's like, you know, when you just mash the throttle, it'll take it like to 7.25, which is like into, just like my wife's E46, it'll like take it into the red before it makes the shift. I mean, it's really, you're like, wow, BMW. And you know all that's set up to make it feel more, you know, sporty and racy, but it really, the car drives itself harder than you would drive it. And there's that sense that you've got the BMW engineers who know what the car can do on the track there. So, you know, what a hugely capable and altogether awesome vehicle. I mean, it's white as well. It completely fades into the background, but, you know, it's packing. But I mean, you could pick a number in terms of horsepower and torque, because it's a turbo, and you can get inside the brain and manipulate what it's thinking and what it's going to do. So really an interesting car, not something that I would recommend buying second hand, because the dongle, which plugs in under the bonnet, I said to him, have you cut into the wiring harness to do this? He went, no, it's a plug and play. And I went, so when you sell a car, you're going to just unplug it? And he went, yeah. And I'm like, oh, so that's caveat emptor second hand, isn't it? Because this car, it looks like it's a family wagon, because it is a family wagon. You know, it's all-wheel drive, one careful, you know. Well, he's actually the second owner, but he bought it from Florida. It was bought new in Florida, and he had it shipped up. So it's only done half a dozen Vermont winter. Jesus, by the way, can I just say, the weather here is so cruel. Like, I just couldn't. Any car I cared about, to drive on salt roads, it's just, oh, wow. I don't even think I could do it to the Tundra now. It just pains me. Especially when you start to see the rust creeping through. I mean, seeing the rust from the saline air on the stuff that I street. It's because the rust is the product genuinely being, you know, destroyed. But with these electrical things, like with cars traditionally, they would like rust away. You could do the mechanical. Well, now the electrics are way, way too complicated. Like any rust or salt in that, and you just well get rid of the car, because you're going to be chasing electrical gremlins forever and ever and ever. Oh, that's what's going to happen to old cars in future. They're going to look all right, but be hiding all these electrical. Thank you, drive-through.
This episode has been brought to you by Grand Touring Motorsports as part of our Motoring Podcast Network. For more episodes like this, tune in each week for more exciting and educational content from organizations like the Exotic Car Marketplace, the Motoring Historian, Break Fix, and many others. If you'd like to support Grand Touring Motorsports and the Motoring Podcast Network, sign up for one of our many sponsorship tiers at www.patreon.com/GT Motorsports. Please note that the content, opinions, and materials presented and expressed in this episode are those of its creator, and this episode has been published with their consent. If you have any inquiries about this program, please contact the creators of this episode via email or social media as mentioned in the episode.